Hey there design cutters, Renee here with a tutorial for an illustrated holiday postcard. We'll create our layout in Photoshop using hand-drawn elements and textures, then use layer masks and basic Photoshop techniques to create reflections. Follow along by downloading the freebie pack at designcuts.com. Open Photoshop and go to File, New. In the New Document dialog box, enter a width of 6 inches and a height of 9 inches. Set your resolution to 300 ppi and your color mode to RGB, then press OK. We'll start by filling the background with a solid color. Go to Layer, New Fill Layer, Solid Color. In the first pop-up, name your file Blue Background and press OK. In the second pop-up, enter CMYK values of 95, 76, 51, 59, and press OK. Next, we'll create a horizon line. Select the rectangular marquee tool. Drag across the entire bottom of the artboard up to about 3 inches from the bottom edge to create a selection. In the Layers palette, click the Create a New Layer icon. Double-click the name, Layer 1, and rename it Horizon Line. At the top of the Layers palette, change the blend mode from Normal to Multiply. Now select your Gradient tool. At the top left of the program, click the down-facing arrow to the right of the gradient. In the Gradient Picker pop-up box, select the second icon from the left, Foreground to Transparent. On the artboard, hold down Shift and draw from the top of the selection to the bottom of the selection. And we'll save our current selection to use for masking out areas above and below the horizon line after this. So go to Select, Save Selection. In the pop-up dialog box, leave Document as the current document we're in, leave Channel as New, and enter Horizon Line for the name, then press OK. Then press Command D to deselect. At the top of the Layers palette, change the opacity to 85%. Now go to File, Place Linked. In the Zeppelin Graphics Freebies folder, select Nova and press Place. Move the image up to the top of the layout and press Enter. In your Channels palette, hold Command and click on the thumbnail to the left of the Horizon Line channel. Go to Select, Inverse. At the bottom of the Layers palette, click the Add Layer Mask icon. At the top of the Layers palette, change the blend mode to Soft Light. Now drag the Nova layer down to the Create a New Layer icon to duplicate it. Go to Edit, Transform, Flip Vertical. On the artboard, use your Move tool to drag the copy down until the top of it's on the horizon line, giving us an exact reflection of the first image. Then drag the Nova layer below the horizon line layer. Select the top layer, then hold Shift and select the blue background layer. At the bottom of the Layers palette, select the Create a New Group icon. Double-click the name and rename it Background. Now we'll add a little penguin character and give him a reflection in the water. Go to File, Place Linked, and navigate to Penguin 2 in the Piece Art Freebies folder. Press Place. Position the penguin at the bottom right of the artboard and then press Enter. In the Layers palette, drag the Penguin 2 layer down to the Create a New Layer icon to duplicate it. Double-click the name of the duplicate and rename it Ice. Drag the Ice layer below the first penguin layer. Hold Shift and use your Move tool to drag the copy straight down until you can see the duplicate ice just below the original. At the bottom of the Layers palette, click the Add Layer Mask icon. Now select your Brush tool. At the top left of the artboard, click on the arrow next to the brush thumbnail image and choose the Hard Round brush. Increase the size of the brush to 250 pixels or so by pressing the right bracket key on your keyboard several times. Now start brushing the areas of the penguin above the visible ice section. As you paint, you'll start to see him get masked out. I'll turn off the original penguin layer so you can see just the masked out ice. Now select your gradient tool. Drag from the bottom of the artboard to the top of the penguin. This will give the ice the faded look that really sells it as a reflection. Now in the real world, we'd be able to see just the top of the penguin reflected in the water under the ice. So in the Layers palette, select the original Penguin 2 layer and drag it to the Create a New Layer icon to duplicate it. Double-click the name of the duplicate and rename it Penguin Reflection, then drag it below the ice layer. Go to Edit, Transform, Flip Vertical. On the artboard, drag the flipped penguin down until its head is about the same distance from the bottom of the original ice as the original head is. Now we'll mask this layer out to create the illusion of a reflection and to keep from interfering with the ice layer we've already made. In the Layers palette, hold Command and click on the image thumbnail, not the layer mask, for the ice layer. Then go to Select Inverse. With the penguin reflection layer still active, click the Create a Layer Mask icon. Looks a little confusing at the moment, but it'll make sense when we're done. To make things easier, turn off the Penguin 2 and Ice layers in the Layers palette by clicking the eye icon to the left of the layer name. Then select your Brush tool and brush over the remaining sections of ice. And you can turn your other layers back on. At the top of the Layers palette, reduce the opacity to 40%. Now we'll create the fade to make it look like a more realistic reflection. In the Layers palette, click once on the Layer Mask thumbnail on the Penguin Reflection layer to make sure it's active. Select your Gradient tool. On the artboard, hold Shift, then click and drag starting at the bottom of the artboard and ending around the bottom edge of the penguin's scarf. In the Layers palette, select the Penguin 2 layer, then hold Shift and select the Penguin Reflection layer. With all three penguin layers selected, click the Create a New Group icon at the bottom of the palette, then double-click the group name and rename it Penguin. At the bottom of the Layers palette, click the Create a New Group icon. Rename it Text. Select your Type tool. Click once at the top left of the artboard and type Piece. In your toolbar, select your Move tool. Open your character palette and change the font to FC Little Anchor Regular at 96 point. Click the color thumbnail to bring up the color picker and enter RGB values of 211, 189, 42. Now select your Type tool again. Click once below the E in Piece and type On. Select your Move tool and in your character palette, change the font to FC La Fiesta Regular at 64 point. Now select your Type tool and click once below On and type Earth. Go back to your Move tool and change the font to FC Lemon Shine Regular at 96 point. Go to Type Warp Text. In the pop-up box, choose a style of arch. Make sure horizontal is selected and enter a -20% bend, then press OK. Now go to Edit, Transform, Rotate. Use the corner handles to rotate about -8 degrees. And press Enter when you're done. Select your Type tool again. Click once below Earth and type Goodwill. Switch back to your Move tool and then change the font to FC Little Anchor Regular at 72 point. We'll go to Type, Warp Text, and in the pop-up box, choose a style of arch, make sure horizontal is still selected, and enter a -10% bend, then press OK. With your Type tool, click once below the first O in Goodwill and type 2. Go back to your Move tool, then change the font to FC La Fiesta Regular at 48 point. For the last piece of text, click to the right and just below 2 with your Type tool and type Men. Select your Move tool, then change your font to FC Lemon Shine Regular at 82 point. Now we'll add a few embellishments. Go to File, Place Link, and in the Julia Dreams folder, select Floral Line 60 and press Place. Hold Shift and use the corner handles to reduce the size to about 1 1/4 inches wide. Then hover over the corner handle until you see the rotation arrow and rotate to the right about 95 degrees, and then position that to the right side of Earth. At the bottom of the Layers palette, click the FX icon and select Color Overlay. In the pop-up, keep the blend mode as normal, click on the color swatch, and use the eyedropper to sample the yellow of the text. Click OK on the color picker, then OK on the Layer Style dialog box. In the Layers palette, drag the Floral Line 60 layer to the Create a New Layer icon to duplicate it. On your artboard, use your Move tool to move the duplicated lines below 2. Go to Edit, Free Transform. Use the corner handles to rotate the lines until they look like they're kind of coming out of the word to. Hold Shift and use the corner handles to reduce the size to about 0.7 inches wide, then press Enter. At the bottom of the Layers palette, click the Add Layer Mask icon. Switch to your Brush tool and drag over the edges of the lines that are closest to the letters so they sort of follow the shape of the words. Lastly, for the text, we'll add texture. Go to File, Place Link. Navigate to Glitter Texture 5 in the Julia Dreams freebie folder and press Place. If needed, move it up a little bit to make sure it covers all of your text. In the Layers palette, hold down Command and click on the T to the left of the layer name of the piece layer to create a selection around that word. Continue to hold Command, but now also hold Shift, and then select the T on each of the text layers. Then select the image thumbnails on each of the Floral Line 60 layers. With a selection around all the text and lines, make sure the glitter texture layer is active. At the bottom of the Layers palette, click the Add Layer Mask icon. At the top of the Layers palette, change the blend mode to Soft Light. Now we'll create a new group and name it Stars. Go to File, Place Linked, and navigate to Large Border 03. Press Place. Position at the top of the artboard and press Enter. In the Layers palette, drag the Stars layer down to the Create a New Layer icon to duplicate it. On the artboard, use the Move tool to drag the copy below the original and to the right of the text block. Duplicate the Stars layer one more time. Go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal to keep it from looking too repeated, then position it below the first copy. Go to File, Place Linked, and select Stars 06 and press Place. At the top of the artboard, click the link between width and height, then enter a width of 15% and press Enter. Position just above the C in Piece on the artboard. Now go to File, Place Linked, and select Stars 09, and press Place. Again, at the top of the artboard, click the link icon between width and height and enter a width of 18%, then press Enter. Position to the left of the E in Earth. Now a few of our stars are interfering with the text, so we'll mask those out. In the Layers palette, click on the Add Layer Mask icon to add a layer mask to Stars 09. Then switch to your brush tool and brush over any of the stars that are on top of the text. In this case, I had a couple over the word On. Our last step for the front of the postcard will be to create a reflection for the stars. In the Stars group, create a duplicate of the original large border 3 by dragging it down to the Create a New Layer icon at the bottom of the Layers palette. Drag the duplicate layer into the background group below the horizon line layer and above the Nova layers. Go to Edit, Transform, Flip Vertical, then position it at the very bottom of the artboard. Next, go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. In the dialog box, enter a radius of 2 pixels and press OK. At the top of the Layers palette, change the opacity to 20%. The reflection of the penguin and ice would obscure part of the stars in real life, so we'll mask those out. In the penguin group in the Layers palette, hold Command and click the image thumbnail on the ice layer. Hold Command and Shift and click the image thumbnail on the penguin reflection layer. Then go to Select Inverse. Go back to the blurry stars in the background group, and at the bottom of the Layers palette, click the Add Layer Mask icon. And that takes care of the front of our postcard. Now we'll create the mailing side. Go to File, New. Enter a width of 9 inches and a height of 6 inches. We'll keep our resolution at 300 ppi and color mode at RGB. Then click OK when you're done. Go to File, Place Linked. Navigate to the large border 03 file and press Place. Position so it bleeds off the top of the artboard, then press Enter. Go to File, Place Linked. Navigate to Penguin 2 in the Piece Art Freebies folder and press Place. At the top of the artboard next to Width, enter -56% and click the link icon between Width and Height. Then position the penguin in the bottom left corner of the artboard and press Enter. Now select your Type tool. Click once to the right of the penguin and type Happy. In the Character palette, change the font to FC Lemonshine at 33 point. Then click on the color swatch and enter RGB values of 168, 192, 218. Position to the right of the penguin. Select your Type tool again and click under Happy and type Holidays! Change the font to FC Little Anchor. Go to Type Warp Text. Choose a style of rise and set the bend to 15%, then click OK. Now we'll ground our penguin by giving him a little background. At the bottom of the Layers palette, click the Create a New Layer icon. Double-click the layer name and change it to Blue Background. Drag this layer below the large border 03 layer. Select your brush tool. In the Brush Preset Picker, choose the Watercolor Buildup brush. At the top of the artboard, change the opacity of the brush to 20%. At the bottom of the toolbar, click on the foreground color swatch, and in the color picker, use the eyedropper to sample the light blue of the text. Press the right bracket key several times to increase the size of the brush to 300 pixels. Start brushing in the bottom left corner behind the penguin. Lift your brush and click again several times to create layers of color, keeping it darkest in the corner and lighter as you move out. Next, we'll create a dividing line for the left section where you write your message and the right section where you add your mailing address and stamp. Create a new layer and name it Divider. Select your brush tool. Press the left bracket key several times until the brush size is reduced to 40 pixels. And then we'll increase the opacity of the brush to 40%. Hold Shift to maintain a straight line, click once at the top middle of the postcard, then pull down until you reach the bottom middle and release. Next, go to File, Place Linked, and navigate to the Stars06 file, and press Place. At the top of the artboard, enter a width of 15%, then click the link icon between width and height. Center the largest star below the light blue line. In the Layers palette, duplicate the divider layer by dragging it to the Create a New Layer icon. Go to Edit, Transform, Rotate 90 degrees clockwise. Position it on the right side between the divider line and the right edge, and this will be the first line of our address section. Now select your Move tool, hold Option plus Shift, click on the address line, and drag down about 0.3 inches, then release. Repeat 2 more times to create a total of 4 lines for addressing. And that's it, we're done! We have a whimsical holiday postcard with personality that's also super easy to mail. Whether it's your outcome for this tutorial or something new, head over to our Facebook page and share it with us. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and give us a thumbs up if you liked the tutorial. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/designcuts to get more video tutorials and regular updates, or visit us at designcuts.com. Thanks for watching. Till next time!